So keep doing the concert, y'all. And he steps up and he say, look, I'm going to be single for a while because modern women bring less.
Nobody wants to wake up every day and have to change your diaper, wipe your butt. You are living in 1987.
He wanted the oxtails and the chitlins grandmas, but they're Sunday fun day. They're not available anymore.
But what he was saying, though, was, is there reciprocity anymore?
He said he could pull your cousin if you wanted to.
Ciara thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to say what I mean.
That wasn't girlfriend energy. It was controlling spirit.
Maybe she wanted to push him in front of a national audience because the nigga is slacking.
He don't want to move too fast, okay? He's just trying to take it slow. One day at a time, listen. Okay?
For those of y'all who didn't catch my drift here, mind your fucking business. Welcome to yet another episode of the BLC Pod.
It's the pod, y'all.
Yeah, man, we had to bring the energy because our girl S5E9 is not with us. She's out here enjoying a much needed vacay. She said, I'm going to be watching y'all, so we got to give it, up for her. Of course, S5E9, we love you, girl. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy. Even though I'm low-key kind of hating a little bit. But with that being said, I got all my people, most of my people with me.
With me.
Yeah.
With me.
Forfeit.
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay.
Speaking of having all our people with us, for y'all out there, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, and all that good stuff. We really appreciate the commentary, you heard? But y'all better be careful out there in them comment streets before we shoot back. And of course, we got the merch, y'all!
We got merch. You can purchase.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Don't be naked out there. Get you some. You know what I mean? Support. You know what I mean? Like, subscribe, and support the merch. You heard what I'm saying? But with that being said, I feel like the energy is right now. We're going to start with Tia B in the building.
Tia B.
Hey now, say now. It's good to be here. Good to see y'all. Looking forward to today's show. I've been in Dallas getting me a little summer tan, so I'm ready to kind of rub off on some of y'all and put y'all against a couple of ropes today. So I'm looking forward to our conversation and our banter.
Yes, I see you giving a lot of tan out there, girl. You know what I mean? I feel like if you took the screen down anymore, we might have to put a label on the show.
Well, the words will fall right across in the right spaces. So my inbox is still open, though. So.
Not the captions are going to save you.
Small win.
But with that being said, I got my guy, Just Jay, in the building.
Yeah.
What's up, people? What's good? It's good to be here, man. It's always great to be here at the Better Listen Close Room, chatting it up with all the folks. So, as you know, my background's a little different, right? I'm actually in South Carolina right now. I'm checking out Myrtle Beach. I'm asking myself, where are all the lifestyle people out here? I don't see them. I think there seem to be a lot of geriatric pale people that maybe they are hiding behind. And so I'll keep looking. I'll keep y'all posted. But until I find them, let's talk, man. I'm here to spit my stuff out, man. Summertime, let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're on Bumble or is it like Grindr?
I don't know. Is it Tinder? I don't know where to be.
I don't know what these sites are.
How do you jump from Bumble to Grindr? That's like big leap. Okay.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
This is Tinder. He said Grindr.
This is not an ad. Yo, Delvin, please save me from myself.
We got to throw you a lifeline, like Tia said, throw you one of the ropes Tia talked about, and good to be back. And man, Jay is on the road. He's not letting time or space stop him. You know what? Jay really inspired me. I think I'm going to try to do this show on the road too. From my cruise, I heard they have great Wi-Fi. I'm going to bring the new mic that Tia just put us on. So I'm going to see what happens. So we're going to try to test this out. And if it doesn't work out, all good. But this might be our first show from the high seas. So since I'm in international waters, I might be able to do some illegal stuff that I can't do on land. I will be gambling, but we will try to do a show from the seven seas. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But give me Wi-Fi blessings. I'm going to.
Yeah, yo, that would be fire. I mean, listen, we don't want to.
That would be dope.
But if you're open to it, matter of fact, you know what? Give us about 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're about to go to our cruise correspondent. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
On the high seas. Hey, I'm out here, bro. It's a little rocky out here, but we having a good time.
It's gonna be so squiggly. It's gonna be looking like 1982 porn, you know?
Yes, it'll be our man on the scene.
Is there anything special about this cruise that you want to mention, or are you just talking about like Caribbean or one of those like royal princesses? I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah,
You on a Virgin cruise?
Yeah, we're doing a Virgin cruise. We've done Royal Caribbean. We're doing a Virgin. We'll definitely have F them kids energy. I actually have a T-shirt that says F them kids. We are doing all of that stuff, so there will be no kids on the BLC special on the scene episode. So we can still do all of our shenanigans and hijinks and foolishness. So we're cool on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, man. Keep us posted. I mean, I feel like we're kind of here for it. You know what I mean? Like as our correspondent.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man. I'm doing good. First and foremost, I want to thank my wife. You know what I'm saying, Lena? You know what I mean? Like this weekend is Father's Day, right? Like, is that right? Am I missing? Am I tripping? I mean, I feel like we barely hear anything about Father's Day, but in my head, I'm like,
holidays, you know.
yeah, I mean, it's like a sub holiday. It's like a second tier, third tier joint, right? It's clearly not on the same tier with Mother's Day, but that's not what we're here. Anyways, I always want to thank my amazing wife because she gave me the best like Father's Day ever. Like she was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you and him some alone time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
She was thinking.
I'm gonna go over here and get me a little respite from the both of y'all. But in the meantime, here you go. Leading up to Father's Day, handle your business. So I'm on daddy duty and on podcast duty. So if I have to mysteriously leave, it's because he's out there doing something he ain't got no business doing. But I want to thank her for the greatest father's gift. What better father's gift than spending more time with your kid? You know what I'm saying?
What's up?
So
now you know what to get her for Mother's Day.
Priceless.
Yeah, right.
That's every day. We have those memories.
Yeah, but listen. So I want to take a time out to wish all of the single dads a special Father's Day because we don't really acknowledge them enough. I know, I get it. We highlight single mothers all the time, but there are fathers out there who are carrying the burden alone, who have to juggle these multiple things. And I got to tell you, the couple of days that I've been doing it gave me a new appreciation. So I feel like we got to shout out all the fathers out there who are doing it on their own. You dig what I'm saying? And as a special shout out, I want to pause real quick. My dad, thank you for ejaculating into my mother and allowing me to come into this planet, into this world. Shout out to you. And more importantly,
like the longest Thanksgiving prayer.
Coming from the pilgrims.
That's how it works.
Even the Oscar speech wouldn't be this long. All right, go ahead.
And more importantly, for being there and guiding me, because now that I'm a father, I realize how important it is for us to be there to help guide our kids. I mean, y'all was talking about what y'all was talking about. Excuse me for taking the time to want to shout out fathers. It's a shame that even on a show about Black men, marriage, and family, that the fact that I'm getting any pushback about taking the time out to honor fathers is crazy work. Right? So like I was saying,
I'm not smoking. This is my gaslight
my father, but also all the dads on the pod, because I'm sure they're amazing fathers, some of whom being featured on other podcasts about how amazing they are as fathers, and some of whom interrupted me in regards, but they want to be out there and talking. They talk about being dads, and when they get mad that I can't even talk my talk. But okay, I'm going to wrap it up, sir. I didn't know we were at the Oscars. But last but not least,
start playing the music. No music in the background.
You know what I'm saying? Last but not least, okay, I want to admonish any women out there who think this is a good time to get your toxic, dysfunctional ass out there and talking about Happy Father's Day to me. Sorry, boo. Okay, I get where you're going with it because the nigga ain't doing shit, but you chose him. So, okay. But for all the other niggas out there, all the other niggas out there who are doing their thing, and you hope to run into one of them one day, can you step the fuck aside and let that nigga have his day? It's giving.
One day.
It's giving you're one nigga for real, right? It's giving that, you are steeped in trauma and hurt. So with that being said, shout out to all the fathers out there. I'm saying we appreciate y'all on behalf of the BLC. But with that being said, Tia, speaking of things close to one's heart, what we talking about there? You heard?
Well, I'm a California girl, and although I'm from Oakland, which is in Northern California, I know a lot of people don't know distance and how far apart we are, but we're about 7 to 8 hours away from LA. And, LA is just, there's so much going on right now with the National Guard coming into town, and a lot of protesters. The protesters have been protesting some of the treatment of a lot of Latino people by the ICE agency. And it has been chaotic this past week. We have seen ICE agents ramming cars. We've seen them going into Home Depots, going into elementary graduations, calling people into court and then arresting them when they come. Just a lot of devious moves in order to really get these people deported, not really abiding by the Constitution or legalities that people have set forth. And keep in mind, California is a sanctuary state, right? We are liberal. We know that our workforce is heavily impacted by Latino people. And so we understand the importance of them within our economy. And so now it seems like, Trump is just taking and doing his big one, because he's a little bit pissed at Gavin because we're still a sanctuary state. And this is somewhat of a retaliation, it seems. And so people are outside rebelling, and it's really sparking my activism up. And so I'm hoping that people decide to find the way that works best for them. Black people are under a lot of fire right now because we are not really outside participating and protesting. And in the social media world, people are really asking why, and why are we so quiet? But I think that we should realize that, one thing stands true. Once Trump is done with Latinos, who's next? We have to just be cautious of when you lose citizenship, you lose right to laws, and that can happen to any of us. Keep in mind, Guantanamo Bay is still actively in operation, where they can put you in jail for forever without ever giving you a lawyer or a trial, just based on what they said that you could have done. So be very mindful of the democracy that's not so democratic for the people.
Gotcha. And so I guess based off of everything that's happening, right, where do we fit? I feel like you were kind of saying, right? And I really wanted to point out the fact with you being from California, I feel like that's a little different because a lot of Black people in the South may not have the same type of proximity and relationship to some of our brown brothers and sisters out there, right? I know through hip hop, rap, gang culture, things that you hear about just in general about how different it is in Cali. So I do get that people from Cali may have a sentiment or a little bit more of especially Black people in particular, right, to this because, like there's that, right? So that's one. I do think you were also making the point that, hey, when they come for these people, we didn't do anything. When they came for these people, we didn't do anything. And when they finally came for us, there was nobody there to do anything for us, right? That kind of mindset. So I do think that's a great point too, right? In terms of whether or not we as Black people should feel like, hey, let's step up. But I guess the other part to that though is I think as Black people, do we feel some type of way about the ways that maybe they have not stepped up for us too? Like, is that a fair conversation to have in terms of whenever it's us, it feels like we're kind of just doing everything on our own and we don't have that level of support. Now, I get one can say that's a tit for tat situation, but I think it's a valid question though, right? Because reciprocity is an important component, I think, to allyship, right? Or to being able to support and stand with a group of people. And so the question becomes, at what point does it make sense for us to stand here, right? So I guess that's kind of what's on the table with what's going on right now as it relates to our community, right? I think most of us are hearing things happen about people being arrested, some people illegal, some people not, right? So that's obviously an issue, questions about whether the Constitution is being trampled on, et cetera, right? With that being said, but I also think when we're talking about looking at it from the lens of Black people, it's completely legitimate for us to ask if this is our fight and why, right? Because especially when you talk about the issues between just either being Black or ADOS or whatever, like there are some Black people who deal with immigration issues too, though, right? In terms of how we see them, whether we're talking about Haitians to Nigerians or whatever.
Yes.
So I think there are layers of immigration issues and there's even conversations within our community about these things. But I do think it's legit for us to take a pause and wonder if this is a fight that's worth getting into. And if it's that kind of fight, maybe this is an opportunity for us to negotiate a little bit like, yo, we're going to stand with y'all on this, but we damn sure going to need y'all to stand over here when we do that. And so maybe this is an opportunity to build if it also aligns with us kind of going against Trump in some kind of meaningful way.
I kind of got to push back against I understand what you said. I understand what Tia said. I don't push back against anything you guys said. I think my pushback is against the idea, which it's kind of ridiculous because it's how people are. This "what's in it for me" argument, and I get it. The world is transactional. People are transactional. What's in it for me is a common question. However, what we're looking at, there's some things that are just human rights, the way we deal with human dignity, the way we go about our civil discourse, just the way we conduct our lives. They're being disrupted in the way this is being done. You have a federal government that is overstepping the authority of the state government, right? There's that playing out. Then you have what is going under the wire as a more militarized police presence on our streets, and that it's almost Gestapo in the sense of snatching people out of churches, snatching people out of grocery stores, the places where people are taken, and the excessive force with which they're taken, right? Because these aren't armed combatants. These aren't people that are walking around with guns or armor or any kind of gear or even guard dogs. These are ordinary people who are trying to buy groceries or wash their clothes or go to work or something, right? And they're getting snatched by people with full riot gear and guns, and it's there's a level of intimidation here that is being enacted upon America's streets that isn't just federal, right? There's a sheriff in Florida who's saying, when we start doing our roundups, if there's a riot, we're going to kill you. And there is this escalation of tension and violence that took what was initially in California a peaceful discussion and turned it into something else. So there's a lot of dramas at work here all at one time. And I think it gets dizzying to try to sort it out and figure out where you stand, which is why I say you have to go back to the basics and say, as a being, as a human being, what are the basis of how I think a person should be treated just for the dignity of being a human being, wherever they are, right? If they're not violating anybody's person. Now, I'm not saying they're not violating a crime because maybe they're here and they don't have the right paperwork, whatever. But they're not violating anyone's person, then they have a right to the dignity of their person. My final point is this: the other underlining undertow here is what happens when we start requiring that everybody show identification to prove you're not an immigrant, to show that you're not an illegal or whatever. So now we're getting stopped all the time to make sure, hey, we're checking down, we're counting down. Are we serious we are about this deportation? I mean, when we start taking off checks and balances because it's okay, it's the other guy, eventually it will come around to us. And to Tia's point, there'll be nobody to say anything about it. So as Black people, I think there's a couple of things that we're weighing out. And here's the argument. A, is it that we've gone through so much that we just are no longer prepared to be there for others? Like we just like, look, y'all let us suffer, we're gonna suffer. Or are we waiting to be the trauma consultants? In other words, we see the aftermath and go, listen, this is how we got over. Or, and this is my real question, what are we doing as a people, as a marginalized people? Are we standing in solidarity, or are we just gonna parallel struggle with no intersection? One has power, the other one doesn't. What do you think, Delvin?
I get I get protesting, and I get the conversation that we're having online about, should you guys join in, or, being called out by other groups. My concern is every time there's a social movement, they want to put us out front as crash test dummies. I'm really concerned about that, whether it was, you know, feminism or, pick your other social movements. We get put out front, uh, go sideways, or things happen, and then you know, the other group gets the credit back. Hey, thanks, Black people. Just let us know if you need anything. And then you call them 27 times and they never answer. Right. So that is my concern. Is this your fight? I personally, think, listen, you've got these issues, especially if you traveled or you've been anywhere. I think this is not a U.S. citizen issue. I know you guys feel differently. That's fine. This is an immigration issue. So people are, oh, they're gonna come for us next. No, they're not, because you're a citizen. You live here. You're born here. That's a completely separate argument. And if anybody who's ever traveled anywhere, you can't just go somewhere and just start living there. Go to Dubai and just stay there and then see what happens to you. Try it. The stuff you're seeing on TV you'll wish for that. Most places you can't do that. And I think we're all for people wanting to better themselves. have an opportunity. There's a process to it because if there's not, you got two conflicting things. We have a lot of social programs, a lot of things that the government funds, and we can't fund it for the entire world. So you can either have a welfare system or benefits, or you can have just unchecked immigration. You can have one or the other. You can't have both. I lived in California for a while. Like we have a housing crisis right out there. These people, they're living somewhere. Those are houses that would be for citizens that are being taken up by non-citizens right now.
Okay, hold on.
So
Well, I feel like we're going
Well,
a different lane with that to a certain
yeah,
extent. I'm sorry, right?
yeah,
It's supposed to be a quick take, right? But I do want to say this though, because what I think what you're speaking to, Delvin, is that Black people or just any person has the right to be strategic,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
to think about where they want to deploy their resources in for a cause or not, right? And I also think reciprocity is important, right? So I just want to say that, and maybe we can kind of disagree or agree in terms of where we want
yeah. I
to
got along with it, but yeah.
do our strategic. But you know who else I think low key is probably strategic? Isn't it Ray J? Because I don't think what he did was like just by accident though.
it was
Jay,
strategic.
was
Let's talk about Ray J, because Ray J is back on his "I hit it" or "when I hit it" or "did I hit it" energy. He always talking about when he hit it, and ain't the first time that he had been like stretching the stories on what's going on, right? So this time he claimed he smashed Sexy Red, right? And then he doubled back to say, I'm just trolling. Now pause. And pause. let's talk let's talk about it, because in 2025, what does trolling mean? Like everybody says they're trolling now. Does it mean I'm just saying I'm lying? Does trolling mean I'm kidding? Does trolling mean I'm picking on you? I'm throwing shade? What it really seems like is code for I lied, but don't cancel me. So Ray J's been here before, right? He had his history of folks. Some folks believe him. Other people call Cap from the jump. So in a world where trolling is like the norm, 50 Cent has made a whole rap career and then social media career off trolling people, right? So my question is, where all this PR stunts, clickbaits and all that stuff, is there a line? Like in the world of alternative facts and Wikipedia and everything going on, where you can believe what you want to believe, do we hold people accountable for the jokes that go too far? Or is this just
mm,
like the new norm of digital chaos? Like it's like the Wild Wild West out here. Just say what you want to say, no repercussions, no clapback, no nothing. So let's open it up. When does trolling stop being funny, and when does it start being reckless? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think he was trolling. I think that we give people too much credibility and genius to say that they're creating these chaotic spaces and disasters purposefully. What I do think is that he had some fuckboy energy. And we saw it come out with the Kim Kardashian tapes. Like, this is somebody who literally got rich off of a video that he took privately with his girlfriend at the time, and then exposed her trying to do her some harm and made her a billionaire. And now he has to make a song talking about I hit it first because everybody else has hit it too, right? He thought that by using Sexy Red as the focus, that maybe we weren't going to be too interested. Maybe it's because she's, red hair, hood rat, little ratchet or whatever he might think it is, that we wouldn't really come to her defense. But even when she defended herself, everybody's kind of like, but why, Ray J? Like, is it trolling, or are you just a fuckboy and you want to lie on your dick to get a little bit further because you need to keep your name in the media somehow? Because if not for this, then why would we be talking about you right now? So I think he needs the clout. And I don't think it's trolling. I think it's PR. And we don't have to really be, take us out the chat. Just take us out the chat, RJ. Ray J.
Not
Are,
R.
are, are,
You demoted him to RJ.
Yeah, he don't even
yes,
deserve the
yes.
Ray. He just deserves the R. Junior.
wow,
Little
wow.
RJ. That's little
Little
RJ right there.
RJ.
The RJ. So is it worse because of the circumstances of his lying? Like he was like, hey, yo, we had sex on the plane, but really he said we slept together on the plane, but they slept in the seats next to each other on the plane. Is that making it worse that he was like stretching and like, double entendre or something here? Like, you know what
I
I'm
think that's
saying?
how we know he's not trolling. The lie is
Mm.
so
Oh, I so disagree
per-
with that. I so disagree with Delvin. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead,
let you
Nick.
go, bro. I so disagree with that. But go ahead, Delvin.
No, I definitely
come
think
on.
I definitely think he's trolling. He's probably trying to stay relevant. I mean, listen, lying on your Johnson, lying on your manhood is never good, even if it's really funny. You just don't do it, not even for clout. Just save your dignity, my boy. Come on, man. You're not helping. But yeah, the troll epidemic has really kind of gotten out of hand. I think people just say weird shit and like, hey man, long as it's funny, you know, you got to give me a pass. You know, don't kick me out the group chat because what I said, although it might have been BS, it was really funny BS. So, you know, I think, you know, we joke too much, and don't joke on your meat, and you know, just save your dignity. What do you think, Nick? Is joking on your meat is that out of bounds?
I mean, first of all, like everything else, I got to come here and clean y'all up, apparently. And I get why Tia would do it, because she has a certain slant or bend when it comes to some of these stories. Like there's a recurring theme, if you will, right? So I get it, right? But you, Delvin, at two
Yeah.
brute, like what's going on?
I got to call joking on your meat. I got to call
No,
it what it is.
because here's where the discernment comes in, right? First of all, he said he slept with her on the plane.
Which is
So
technically true.
stop, collaborate, and listen, right? Because he said he slept with her on the plane. Now, granted, that's a purposeful choice of words. As a cunning linguist, I know when I use words, how I can set it up in a certain type of way. So if he was sitting there she was in passenger A1, I was in AB, and we both were just sleeping, and just went to sleep and shit, I could say, yeah, we slept together. Now, again, that's a stretch. I get what he was intimating. I do think it was strategic. I do think he was doing it for clout. All of those things can be true. But this idea that y'all really think that Ray J was out here claiming that he fucked with Sexyy Red, the same girl who got lip gloss named some shit like chlamydia or some bull, like, come on, man. Like, have you seen Ray J's past work, right? You would say, okay, because here's where the harder trolling comes in at. But what I'm saying is, and pushing back on immediately, is the trauma for having a nigga lying on your dick shows up when we have these conversations, because he clearly was trolling. He clearly didn't think that y'all would believe that he would really be claiming that he fucked that girl. I mean, okay, let's be for real. Like, yuck. Okay,
What?
that would be akin. That would be akin. That would yuck. Okay, that's what the fuck I said. Yuck.
What?
That would be akin if he said, ooh, I hooked up with Gabrielle Silverday or some bullshit like that. Anybody who knows know that I was fucking trolling if they heard the words come out of my fucking mouth. So let me put a semicolon in that and move on, because again, if you've seen his past work, I think he has a bar that Sexyy Red is clearly under. Okay, so semicolon real quick, and I'll end with this, right? Because yes, I do agree that trolling has gone too far, 1000%, because what happens is people use trolling as a means of keeping it real, right? That's what I hate the most. I get it if a person is trolling, and I do believe Ray J was trolling. I get it. I don't want to believe him, but there's enough evidence, like I said, if you look at his past and his record and who the fuck she is or whatever, that was trolling. But cool. I'm saying, yeah, and yes, there's a problem with niggas lying on their dick. But what I'm saying is that, come on, man, the problem with trolling is people be saying some real shit and they're like, oh, I was just trolling. Like, if you're really trolling, cool, because the problem then becomes you have to discern if a person is joking, and then it relies upon your relationship with them, you know, and some past history about them, or being able to discern whether or not this person is being performative. That's a lot of responsibility on the listener in today, right, in 2025. So I do get that. But there are some instances, though, that people use trolling as a means to just be mean or to be nasty or to degrade people. And then when they get caught or called out for it, oh, I was just trolling. That, to me, is the problem that I have the most about trolling. Yes, there's a problem with trolling, but some of y'all niggas are too weak, and women are too weak to keep it a buck and say what the fuck you want to say and then hide behind some trolling bullshit. If you meant the shit, say the fucking shit. If that was Ray J in this case, I would call him out on it. But come on, man, just look at her. Yuck. Okay? So I'm going to give Ray J a pass.
He doesn't get a pass. He's a liar.
Ray J, if he was like, yo, I hooked up with Tia, I was like, yo, nah, nigga, you lying on your dick. But come on, this is her Sexyy Red, man. She got lipstick named chlamydia or some nasty gonorrhea. Come on, man. Ain't nobody.
That has made her a millionaire. Like, chlamydia and lumpy yellow coochie has made her a millionaire. Check her stats.
It also made Johnson & Johnson, whoever made the viral shot, a millionaire. Doesn't mean it's good. You know what I'm saying? Whoever makes
it don't have to be good. They're buying it. And the fact that I don't even know if you guys are trolling now, because I'm curious to know if you're trolling right now, because I am astonished by the fact that she's a
she's a
Listen, she could be a but let's not make it seem like there's not niggas who are equally who have money, who's female.
Ray
J is, I don't know what pedestal you're putting Ray J on.
It's not that. You can look at his whole facts. You can look at his whole facts and be like,
Houfax said he had to
driven
sell
better
a video
cars.
of his
He's
ex-girlfriend to be
driven better
popular.
cars. But listen, hold on.
And
Jay,
Who
then
would throw
said
up
I hit it
Sexy Red's
first.
name? Who would throw up Sexy Red's name as conquest? I'll pause there.
Yeah.
Who would? Who would
Jay,
do
I'm
it?
gonna
Boys
look
who are falling asleep next to her on a plane and didn't get any play.
He's the
Stop
first
acting like
celebrity.
Stop acting like you guys don't like whores, because you
No,
do.
it's not. We're not saying
You won't
that,
take
but
them
just
home. Then Sexy Red is a whore that is
no,
equitable
we're
to
saying
RJ.
she's not that attractive.
She's a beautiful girl when she takes her wig off. She is a nice looking woman when she
Wow, how many
takes
times
that
you hear
red wig
that?
off.
Hold on, Jay. Listen, I'm gonna let you have the last word
I
on
think
this
you all
because
lives
I know you
matter,
love
just
Sexy Red.
Tia.
As a man, can
I
you
did.
speak
I
to
did.
can you speak to your view of Sexy Red? Because I felt like you should clean us up and then we get up out of here.
Okay, so and look, I think if you've been watching the
Pause.
show for any
She said,
time,
I'm saying pause.
you know that I'm just gonna keep going over that. If you've been watching the show for any time, you know that I have no love for the lady they call Sexy Red. I think her whole name and style is a misnomer. Sexy Red, Ratchet Red. Maybe it doesn't have the same ring. I don't know, but yeah, there's nothing sexy about that. However, as much as I detest her music, her message, her whole vibe, her look, her aesthetic, her sound of her voice, the way she looks at the camera, the way she holds a stack of money next to her ear, just the whole thing about her, she still deserved a little more respect than what Ray J threw her way. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, people, we can really, like, I understand when the Inquiring Minds was doing it, but we really gonna start running out rumors like we in high school right now about who I smashed and who I didn't smash. Are we that juvenile? Like, no, Ray J need to grow up, man. And this trolling thing is just an excuse for people not to have to stand on their, like Nick was saying, stand on their words. Get one way or the other. They say stuff they don't mean and say they were trolling, or they say something they do mean. I'm trolling. Look, say what you mean. Let's go back to the days where people said what they said. They didn't hide behind the internet, and they just stood on it. That's what I got to say about it.
Yeah, and you know who took your advice, but I guess before you gave it, Jay, Ciara, right? Ciara thought, hey, you know what? I'm gonna say what I mean, because Jim
I
Jones
wasn't
was
talking to her.
sitting there, right? The BET Awards game, right? He minded his good, clean business, handling his business in the interview down press row, and here comes Ciara, married with 5 children. You Ciara's prayer. Oh my God, Russell, whatever the fuck, thought it was cool for her to just get it off her chest to try to talk about what he should be doing with his longtime boo, Christy Lampkin, I think her name is, right? Christy Lampkin. Mm-hmm. But anyway, like she was gushing, oh my God, you should do the spirit told me to do this. Now, some people felt some type of way, felt like she was out of pocket for what she was doing, right? And some people like, oh my God, she must be so close. What a friend. Oh my God, the spirit spoke through her, right? So what are y'all thoughts in regards to not only her interrupting his time, right, to just talk about her shit, right, but into their business, but it does bring a larger question. Like, people be feeling real comfortable to be all up in your business. You be at the barbecue or family function, girl, when you gonna have a baby? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you trying to get pregnant anytime soon? When you gonna bring home a girlfriend or a wife or something? Like, come on, man. So what are y'all thoughts in regards to what the fuck she did and how out of pocket she was, and how out of and are people out of pocket for when they do these things? What are y'all thoughts?
That wasn't girlfriend energy. That was it was controlling spirit. That's what it was. We know what kind of spirit it was. The spirit that spoke, it was sister controlling spirit. And it spoke up and got a whole lot of pocket into somebody else's situation. This man was minding his own business. He was actually doing his job. He's like a public figure. He's supposed to be doing interviews. She is interrupting his hustle to discuss his personal life that has nothing to do with her. And matter of fact, if they've been together this long and it's been working, why are you all of a sudden chirping up? Let these people find their path. They made it this long in their relationship and they didn't need you coaching. Now you coaching here on TV. I mean, who's clout chasing now, right? So I think, and which begs the question: when people push you to marry, it is being judgy. You know what I'm saying? When they're like, yo, when y'all gonna get married? Listen, Nick, when I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? When I come out, you gonna chip in on this? When I get my money and my time right. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I got the destination I'm planning, when I have it lined up, right? Can we normalize not giving relationship advice to people who didn't ask you for it? How about that? Let's normalize that. Everybody want to be a relationship coach from the passenger seat, and it's a problem. It's a problem. I'm gonna land with this. I would tell Ciara, I'm gonna tell the rest of y'all. Some of y'all need to marry your own business. Don't mind it, marry it. Go ahead.
That was a bar, Jay. I see you. Let that breathe. Let that bitch breathe.
Yeah. Is it okay if I just tap in and bust that bubble right quick?
Come for
Because I get what you're saying, right? I think the whole principle of putting your nose in other people's business, especially when it's your female friend and their relationship, is always problematic. Let me start there. But let's just be clear. Maybe she wanted to push him in front of a national audience because the nigga is slacking. You've been here for 21 years with this lady. This lady has dealt with your mother on TV shows where your mother has talked about her to the ground. Your siblings have tried to fight her. Your people have disrespected her. Your managers have tried to fight her, right? So at some point, let's just say she is content, and that's my sister girl. But after 21 years of you dragging her over whatever coals, breakups and makeups and all the things all over again, and you have this nice little birthday party, but this woman has proposed to you in front of millions of people, and we're still here 12, 15 years later engaged. Now, do I think Ciara used the right time? No. But do I get the impact of her audience? Yes, because Jim Jones did come out and release a statement saying that she should mind her business, essentially. But did it get the attention of him to make him say something? Maybe it was, it was accomplished. She did what she had to do.
Mama's in my
21 years, though. What are we waiting for, Chrissy? She should have been telling her girl, Chrissy, why'd you still with him, Chrissy?
Why don't you just go ahead?
I'm just saying. Apparently, they had 21 years of stuff they need to work out. How about that? Go ahead.
Apparently, he's a fuck boy and has
Delvin,
no intention of getting married.
Yeah, listen, Jim just don't. He don't want to move too fast. Okay, he's just trying to take it slow, one day at a time. Listen, okay. We always talk about life goes at its own pace. He's trying to see something. Now, I know. Look, and we talked about track records. We talked about Ray J's track records, right? He's got a pattern, and then we throw sex right in there. Now one of these things is not like the other. Given Ciara's track record with men, and then you go to Russell Wilson. Okay, now those two things don't jive. But now she's a subject matter expert, and she's trying to like, come on, man. But I understand she could have just slipped Ciara's prayer in his pocket and didn't say nothing. She could have just slipped it in his pocket and moved on, Oh, why didn't she? Here's the question. Would she, if it was his girl at the show doing an interview, would she have asked him, why are you still with Jim? Why he not marrying you yet? I don't think she would have did that. I don't think she would have pulled up on Jim Jones' I can't say his wife, but his life partner.
Life partner. It's respectable.
And asked her, why you guys aren't getting married, or what's the deal? Maybe slip Ciara prayer in her pocket. Maybe that would have been the appropriate place to put that. But yeah, that being to the larger point, people do get out of pocket asking you like super personal questions about, hey, well, when you gonna do this? When you gonna bring somebody home, or when you having a baby, or when you buying a house? You're like, I don't know, when you gonna stop cheating on your wife? Like, I don't know. You just people. There's no clap back in there. I think it's not. That may be the origin of trolling. Your family asking you inappropriate, super personal questions. So, while it's a valid question, that was not the forum or the venue for it. Just slip the Ciara's prayer in people's pockets here when you want to give them unsolicited relationship advice.
It's funny. You mentioned Ciara's prayer about 5 times.
Hella times.
Right?
He did.
And I remember thinking, because I wrote it down in my notes, I'm like, I'm going to mention Ciara's prayer, right? But the one way that you didn't mention it was what I think the real problem is here, right? Ciara, as a, let's say, C-list pop star once upon a time, who went through things and lucked up with finding a guy who was willing to put her on a pedestal because he was a cornball and had a couple of dollars, right? Right?
Oh,
right.
So she has this Ciara's prayer thing, so much so that Delvin mentioned it 5 times, right? Right. But what happened was she started drinking her own Kool-Aid. Like, she started thinking that, oh my God, because I somehow magically was connected to God through the shimmy of my shoulders and my hips, was able to conjure up Russell. So now, to Delvin's point, I'm a subject matter expert. Nah, shawty, you got lucky. You know what I'm saying? Lucky. So now, for you to go into Jim Jones, who is a gangster personified through hip hop, OG, minding his good, clean business. And you have the temerity, the audacity, the gall to interrupt his good, clean business because you happen to be in a good relationship. I hate niggas like y'all, right? Because guess what? I'm in a good relationship, but I also understand that sometimes you got to carry that shit a certain type of way because you could be the type of nigga who think that you're better than other people because you happen to be in a better relationship than them. You don't know what the fuck they got going on. The fuck? Just because life happened to work out for you does not now all of a sudden give you license to do that shit. If she had the conversation behind closed doors, cool. If that's something she would have pulled him to the side, cool. But what she did spoke to a certain level of arrogance, which goes back to the Ciara's prayer. She think that because other single, lonely, hopeful ass women use her song as a siren to hopefully luck up like she did, that somehow gives her a degree or some type of credibility to sit there and interrupt Jim Jones and his conversation. Girl, bye. Right? This is the reason why niggas don't like Russell, because we feel like he empowered your bird ass to do shit like this. Okay? That's not me saying that. I'm just channeling the voice of the internet because she gave them an example for why niggas don't like her and don't like him. Right? Because, my God, I wish my wife would have done some bird ass shit like that. We would have had to talk about it when we got back to the crib. So in conclusion, for those of y'all who didn't catch my drift here, mind your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? Especially y'all who are doing well. I try to have empathy to understand I'm fortunate. You can't be like, I'm fortunate and then expect everybody to be in your situation. That doesn't make any sense, right? And what works for you does not work for everybody, right? There's a lot of niggas in Russell's position you would have not worked for. You dig? So just be happy, be humble. You know what I'm saying? And mind your fucking business. And that goes to family members who ain't paying no goddamn bills, who ain't contributing to how the fuck you live. It is okay if you're contributing to my household, to my livelihood, if you are in my business a little bit. Let my son get ready to get married. He expect me to pay for it a little bit. Yeah, nigga, it's my business too. The fuck we talking about? But if you ain't doing none of those things, mind your fucking business.
You heard it here first, folks.
If you paid, you can wait. If you paid, okay, cool. You know, can I show y'all a story? Can I show y'all a quick story?
Story time.
Okay, go ahead.
And rest his soul, my father-in-law, I love him. He was a great man, right? Bishop and everything, right? But when me and my wife was getting ready to get married, he wanted to have more say in like the wedding situation because he was a bishop and he was a pastor. So it's almost like because, you know, she was the woman, he wanted to leverage that. And I had to have a conversation with him and be like, hey, bro, like I respect it. But no. You know, like if that meant that you got to do what you do over there, I respect it. And I respected it 1000%. But I feel like he had to respect me too. But if you have money involved, I get why you feel like you should have a say. So I hate when black people be like, oh, they got a handout and they want you to not have a say. Let me be clear. My money comes with a say. Okay?
Yes.
Maybe that's just conservative for me. Maybe that's me in my conservative bag. But I'm just saying, I'm gonna conserve my money. Well, go ahead.
Like, no, we got to have the collection box. If you want to contribute to some of these bills, man, we'll hear you out. That's all good.
Devin, you were saying there's men are more conservative now anyway, right? Or the divide is becoming, just as a man, he's being more conservative.
Yeah, that's what that's been the takeaway from the most recent election. Looked at the way the men and the women kind of broke down along gender and party lines, and young women, in particular, 18 to 29, have skewed a lot more liberal over the last since like 1999, and the men have kind of stayed steady, but it's the biggest gap is between younger women and older women. The women in the middle have sort of stabilized a little bit, but the reason it's really an issue with the 18 to 29 is because it's causing a lot of issues in dating and mating. It's a lot of the apps. they're kind of screening for, for those political leanings. Some women are putting in their bios, oh, if you voted for Trump, or if you listen to, I don't know, maybe like different kind of maybe right leaning podcast, or if you watch Fox News, then swipe past me, or don't jump in my inbox. So that's another layer of screening on top of, height and income and whatever other filters you want to put in there that are being put up, and that are kind of keeping people from maybe finding their right person. So, the kind of begs the question: how big of a issue is your partner or potential partner's political leanings, or which way they vote for? You could frame it as a values question, and that's fair. But is that a reason you would just eliminate somebody flat out? Is that a deal breaker? Well, I mean, your inbox is open. How's your filter set up? Is that a filter that you have?
It is a filter that I have. It's definitely a red flag for me. I only date Black men, so I think that that matters in this conversation. Because as a Black man, if you voted for Trump, then we wouldn't be compatible. It just wouldn't be something that I would want to engage in for a multitude of reasons. Because sometimes these things, especially with this kind of extremism that we're experiencing now in politics, it's like where you land is a descriptor of sometimes your morals, your ethics, your values, and your protectiveness of some of the things that I may value. So I think, yes, that there may be women that are considered more liberal, but I think we've always had to be more liberal because we were always fighting to be included. We were always fighting for rights. We were always fighting for access to resources. And so I think that women have historically been liberal. Now I think that because there is this autonomy of self without having to conform to patriarchal values of marriage, or needing to have a man to buy a house, or needing to have a man to be stable in these ways, that yes, women are more liberal. And keep in mind, right now, that's a problem for the government and the world because birth rates are severely declining. We are at a decrease in birth rates that we haven't been at, in hundreds of years. And so people are worried about that. But I think women have a right to speak up. And of course, it looks more liberal for those, but it helps weed out the snakes. Because if you're a Trumper, and you're okay with what's going on in the world right now and how he's handling it, then of course you couldn't date me.
I mean, I agree with Tia that I think a person's political stance can reflect their values in some stark contrast, particularly when we're in a situation where our nation is as divided as it is, and where we've reached a point that is so polarized. It's almost as though each party is more poised on the eradication of the other party and the eradication of that other party's influence in our government and our society than they are in urging the other party to do better or to move more toward a common center. And so it's really that idea of a common center, I think, that we're really having a problem with now. It's like the war of the sexes went galactic or whatever, or now maybe we're voting for because coming from different planets. It's kind of taking that men are from Mars and women are from Venus and just stretched it out. It makes sense to me, no, because the world is changing so fast right now. The way we date is changing, the way we marry is changing, the way we even raise our kids is changing. And I understand why men who are currently losing a lot of say so in the way that moves would want take a more reactionary stance, would want things to be more conservative, would want to kind of turn back the clock a little bit because, if you don't know where we're going, then yeah, you want to hit the brakes and slow down so you can kind of see a little bit before you get to wherever they're taking you. I get that. But I think the numbers are against you, fellas. I do. I think that trying to wage this war in liberal versus conservative is ridiculous. I think that everybody should start moving toward the center like you would need to do for a relationship. You know what I mean? Come on, y'all. We got to teach them how to reach across the aisle by smashing across the aisle. That's right. Smash your Republican sister and your Democratic brother and vice versa. Or maybe not your brother and your sister. How about a third cousin twice removed? Okay, I digress. But what I'm saying is, in the bonds of unity, people, let's come to just some common ground. It is going to shift. Our society is changing, but we can't pull it like a tug of war. Otherwise, our fabric will come apart. Go ahead, Nick.
So I'm gonna try to be serious for a little bit here. Because I think I look at the word liberalism and conservatism or conservative a little different, right? I think there's certain things like tradition that we hope to conserve or preserve over a period of time. So there's a logical sense that I think, even from a society standpoint, like we do not evolve as quickly as we think we do. right? I think the rate of technology may exponentially grow, but if you think about human evolution or just a human, evolution in period, it's not something that happens tomorrow. It takes generations, years. I remember I was asking a veterinarian why my dog felt the need to like run around in this little bed. I'm like, why the fuck would it doing that? It was just stamp around and stamp around. I'm like, why the fuck is he doing that? And he explained to me that like many generations ago, that dog was outside and they had to like tap around the bed to make sure there was nothing there, like that type of shit, right? And so like there is stuff that, happens many generations ago that we are still kind of doing now. I think I say all this to say that I think that's what, to me, conserving, maintaining over length and breadths of time, right? So, but naturally, though, things do change. I think my pushback on all this is that the liberalism side goes too far too quick. I remember I was having a conversation with one of my younger siblings about abolishing the police, for example. And I was like, okay, I get it. That was a cool idea, right? But like, how practically is that going to work exactly? So there's a certain level of like liberalism that has just gone too fucking far. Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the time it's the young people for sure. But I see it show up when it comes to relationships a lot more in women because the liberalism leads to we don't need niggas, period. Right? There's a certain level of like where it goes down this road of like fuck niggas altogether. I don't know that conservatism or niggas who are on that type of time go there. Now, granted, there's gender wars and people find reasons to say certain things, but I'm just talking about the principle of, hey, I believe in a family, I believe in a wife, I believe in the children, I believe in this kind of unit thing, which is what we've been raised on or whatever. So I want to conserve that versus how it shows up sometimes when a woman, I've heard women say this, especially the younger ones, it's like fuck niggas, fuck marriage, fuck institutions. Like some of them kids be on that type of time. So I do think there's a certain level of liberalism that you get so loose with it that you're not holding on to anything anymore. Like it's almost like you're only like there to exist in contradiction to a thing. Like, okay, I hate patriarchy so much that you rob yourself of being able to find a man or a person that you could build with for real, for real. So that's the thing that I have an issue, I think, sometimes. And yes, maybe because men are not more articulate or more open-minded. I do think considerably men are. Like, yes, I might value a wife that is more home or more traditional in that way, but does that mean I will not participate in helping to take care of my kids? Does that mean I may not like be there for you in a meaningful partnership type of way? Right? Which leads me to my other points. I think sometimes, because I've noticed this around this political age, people get so caught up in politics that it becomes more about the politics than the actual practical implications to themselves. Right? Like for me as a man, I will never be in a position to have an abortion. Right. So, yes, I can have my position on it, but I'm not going to be practically in a position where I'd have to face that. I can do the things that a man can do to avoid being put in a situation where I impregnate a woman. But at the end of the day, it's still something that affects women more disproportionately. So if I'm willing to yield a little bit because of that, that just makes practical sense to me. That's not really about being conservative. Because in my own life, if I got a woman pregnant, I would not want her to have an abortion. I'd be willing to stand up and we figure that shit the fuck out. So in my practical application of life, I could feel a certain type of way. But does that mean that I then have to cast that upon somebody else? Dig what I'm saying? So I feel like there are some people who get so down this road of like politics and the rhetoric that the calcification of the rhetoric doesn't allow them to exist as a real human being. We hear that about podcast conversations all the time. And we also see that when it comes to politics, because that's why we don't want to talk about politics at work. It's one of the most divisive. And the truth is, most of y'all don't have the bandwidth to really talk about it for real. Right? Y'all get caught up in the bell whistles of the issues and don't dig any deeper. And so yet you let no, because listen, one of the things that the Republicans do a good job of is bell whistles, whatever that word is, right? They do a
Dog
good
whistle.
job, dog whistles. They do a good job of getting people all riled up to vote against their own fucking interest because those people don't have the bandwidth to recognize what the fuck is going on. And what I'm saying is that a lot of us do that when it comes to politics. We don't even know how voting works for real. We can't tell you what the three branches of government is for real. We can't tell you how bills get passed for real. None of that shit. So we sit there and let a thing that we barely understand come in between people who might be able to love us for real, and be partners to us in a certain type of way. Some of the shit makes sense for it to be collaborative, but sometimes it makes sense for it to be contradictory, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes opposites attract for a reason. So I'm not saying you have to do that when it comes to politics. I'm saying that too many of y'all are letting the fucking rhetoric and the politic talks and all that shit get in the way of who the fuck you really are. I am a liberally thinking person when it comes to allowing you for you to have your rights, but I am conservative with how I live mine and mine. You dig what I'm saying? Like how I move, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? And you can find a partner who can meet you the fuck halfway. That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of which, you know who else is conservative? And I didn't know he was conservative. I did not know. Yeah, I wanna please you. I had no idea. Honestly, I wasn't even a Keith Sweat fan, right?
What?
I wasn't. I was a hater. I've been a
Keith
Keith Sweat hater. I'm gonna confess because right now I'm Keith. I apologize. I realize now that you are a man of wisdom.
I think we all deserve an apology.
And I got to say this now because people are going to use my words before this to turn against you. And I want to just clear the air. I used to say Keith Sweat sounded like he was whining. Okay. And I want to take that. I want to walk it back.
No, why?
I want to take it back.
Why?
Because because he was serenading. Okay. He was his love. He was singing love. And because I know what he's about to say now, what he's been saying, women are going to say he's whining. They're going to say he whining right now. And so I don't want them to use my words against Keith because I'm not with that. I'm for Keith right now. So let me explain what happened. Okay. So Keith was doing the concert, y'all. And he stopped the concert and he steps up and he said, look, I just want to tell y'all I'm single. I'm going to be single for a while because modern women bring less. And he kept going. He said, they don't wash. I fold my own clothes. I wash my own dishes. I cook my own food. And what I need you there for? That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? So he said the women ain't been giving it up like they used to give it up. And now I'm not co-signing what he said. I'm just telling y'all what he said. Okay. Now the question is Keith stuck in the 90s, like a rerun? You know what I'm saying? Or is he like shining a light on the fact that women are still like really entitled and they asking for more, but doing so much less? Right? Like the expectations have shifted. I mean, we've seen the rise of the independent woman with this rise of liberalism, right? We just talked about it, and rightfully so, because they were repressed and held down. I get that. I feel you. But has it changed how intimacy works? Like what we really expect from a partner? Are there even expectations still there? What do you guys think? Is he out of pocket? Is he an old man who's out of tune with the times? So dive in. What are you saying? What do you think?
Who chooses Keith Sweat to take advice from? Like, why are we listening to Grandpapa? Why does what he says about relationships and people who are dating even matter to us? Nigga, you are dust. You are 70 and some change, nigga, like earth, wind, and gone dust. You need to go on and sit down. Because here's the thing, Keith. The reason why you can't get a woman who wants to invest in you that way is because every time we see you, you have a glass of cognac in your hand. Your eyes look glossed over, glazed with a little touch of jaundice. It looks like your liver might be a little fatty and you might have some kidney issues, Paw. Nobody wants to wake up every day and have to change your diaper, wipe your butt, possibly give a kidney and deal with your bullshit, Keith. You are living in 1987. And the fact that the old ass aunties don't want to cook for you and do for you says something because they're not the women in question with this generational gap of independence. The people that Keith are talking to is your grandmama and she's still cooking. If not, they old enough and he rich enough to go order in, order out, whatever. Why are we listening to Keith Sweat? Why? With his begging ass. Why?
Keith said he could pull your cousin if he wanted to. What you say?
Pull a rabbit out of a hat. The hat had 10 rabbits in it. He couldn't find them.
If Keith Sweat pulled up on you, girl, you might be open to it.
Right. Keith Sweat, unfortunately, could not snap. Listen, he could not scratch and sniff NT10 on me. But I got an auntie for him who would go for him because you're right. Some women would and should and could and they can. And Keith Sweat is not turning them down. They turning him down. And we know what that whiskey dick look like. And it's a high possibility. It's a high, have y'all seen? To tell me Keith don't look like his liver bad. He look jaundiced. I want to give you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you want to keep us around because you need somebody to wipe your butt in a few years, Keith, when everything goes. And I get it, but go for the aunties and stop going for the young women, which has been a problem for my brothers recently. Smokey and Shannon and Diddy and all the rest of them.
How they catching strays? This is
hey,
man. All right, everybody catch them today.
Why Keith may not be able to pull a woman because he's looking too far down and he needs to look across to people on his level. Go for the aunties, Keith. They out here. They still cook. They know what
Delvin is
Jonathan signs look like. They'll
She
help
came for all the pawpaw.
she came for
Those
everybody.
5 or 6 minutes of pawpaw slander. Listen, this is black people problem right now. We don't value the wisdom of our elders. You always talk about the
Well,
ancestors, but then we don't listen to the ancestors. He's trying to listen.
Ancestors is dead.
Listen,
I
he's
say.
almost there. He's almost there. You just claimed that for him. You just said his kidney's
Dust.
bad, and he got gas station pills and jaundice and a bunch of other ailments, and you just put that on that man. He probably is dating hot young honeys, and that's okay because you know who else is doing that? Bill Belichick. Since we throwing everybody in here, shout out to Belichick.
Wow.
He's doing it well, right?
Not the White King.
He's doing the White King.
How did we get here?
It's your fault, Tia. It's your fault.
Now I have to have White King reinforcements, right? So you put it there. So
She did.
yeah, the young honeys may have
White Kings.
the young honeys are not cooking and doing the things that that's the auntie's fault. I blame the aunties for this because you don't want the grandmas because they're out, doing grandma shit, whatever they're doing. They probably, the grandmas are probably at Sunday fun day drinking mimosas because this is the new grandmas. He wants the old grandma. He wants the old grandma from 1987, but they're out at Sunday.
Oxtails grandma.
He wants the oxtails and the chitlins grandmas, but they're Sunday fun day. They're not available anymore. So he's I'm gonna date the granddaughter, but the granddaughter can't cook. So why didn't y'all train them up the way I need them to be? Now that I got my cognac and his good liver, because I'm gonna claim that for him.
Okay, seriously, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jay.
Because I'm saying you guys, you Keith Sweat, you got your own money, you're older, you ain't trying to have no more kids, right? When you have a woman around, right? What else is there for her to do than have your clothes ironed and your food cooked and your stuff ready for you to go do whatever you do?
Do your show. That's a fact.
Right. Yeah. Like he's like y'all, you clowning him, but he's saying, look, this is bring something to the table. Do something. Like
that's not what he said.
This is he's saying bring an RN certification. At least be my caregiver.
That's what he wants.
No, I mean, but okay,
need some IHSS in this job.
Okay, this I realize I have to be the voice of reason here, and that's fine because I like playing the voice of reason, right? The voice of reason.
Trolling.
All right, no, real talk. This is real talk. You're gaslighting me. Oh my
I did.
God.
I did.
The level of gaslighting I have to because to talk. And it's almost unfair because you do this professionally. I gotta.
Hold on, I have a little violin over here. I want to play for you. Hold on. There
listen, I ain't scared. Okay, get it. Listen, I don't went toe to toe with my therapist before. I ain't scared. So be clear. But I realize I gotta be the voice of reason. Okay, number one, you got to remember the era that Keith Sweat comes from. Jay said he was whining. When you're talking about I wanna please you, like that speaks to a man of service, right? What he was talking about was the lack of reciprocity. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But what I'm talking about from Keith Sweat's perspective, when you're talking about the R&B that brothers like myself and some of us who grew up in that era, we understood how the music catered to. In fact, the young brothers look back and say that was simple music in terms of how much the music catered to. Now, if Keith Sweat, any part of him was a guy who catered to women, I think it's completely fair for him to have a commentary about whether or not a giver is out here when he has resources, to Jay's point, is noticing that women don't give as much as they used to. Which brings me to my second point, which is I get it. We're in a culture where we don't like to listen to the messenger, so we purposefully especially want to avoid the message. But what he was saying, though, was, is there reciprocity anymore? And what he is seeing is that it seems like, going back to the previous topic, liberalism, when it can go so far that you exclude other people, he was speaking to some of that, which is why I think these two topics tied in so beautifully. Yes, does he represent more of a conservative mindset? And yes, maybe he's outdated when you're talking about cooking and cleaning, because now people have Uber Eats and dishwashers, right? But the spirit of reciprocity can still be different. Can you at least go on Uber Eats and make the order without bothering me in terms of what I want for dinner that night? Can you at least do a couple of things to show that you are into me too, that this is not a one-way street. And the other thing is, you got to think about it again from Keith Sweat perspective. He's probably been provided for most of the women that he's probably engaged with for the last few decades. So it's not like he's a person who is sitting there leeching on, expecting women to come with their purses, which seems to be a problem for these highly educated women who got all this money to travel everywhere. But the minute that you ask them to put $1 on the table, they're aghast. So yes, does Keith Sweat have a point? He's always had a point, right? And the fact that a brother like him, who has been a provider, who has been a provider in more than one way, right? If you listen to his songs, that brother be trying to get it in. You heard? So he's provided protection, he's provided some provision, and apparently he's providing peen, even if it is whiskey-fied peen. But the point is, he brings up some valid points, and I wish y'all would listen to what he's saying, because y'all, this is about negotiating terms of a truce in this gender war. I don't understand what's so hard for women to recognize that there are things that they can do to help put their arms down and we can build Black love and Black family again. What's so hard about that? So yes, he made a mention of it. Yes, he looks like he probably needs to sit down. Yes, he's probably on that cognac a little too hard. But it's okay for us to accept good advice when it's good advice. And guess what? Lastly, the people in the audience, while he was at his performance, it resonated with them, because guess what? Maybe it's a generational gap, but for young people who are too liberal to appreciate each other, the rest of us who still do, I'm about to get into my Ciara bag. Fuck the rest of y'all. I got mine. You know what I'm saying? The fuck y'all talking about, Keith Sweat? Stay strong, my brother, and keep doing what you're doing. I'm surprised he's still touring. But go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
I got nothing.
I got something. I got one last something.
Go ahead. Finish it off. Finish it.
Let me get my singing voice on. Because who should listen to Keith? Nobody. That's all we need. That's all we need. Nobody. Because we don't need Keith, Kevin Samuels, or anybody else perpetuating anything over a glass of cognac, speaking to 8,000 women in the audience, half of whom haven't had sex since Keith was popular and he had a #1 hit. And so, yes, it's going to hit different, because guess what? That's who he should be talking to. Not the young girls with liberal issues. He should be talking to the aunties in the audience who don't mind a little cognac swirl and missing teeth on the side. That's what he should be getting at.
Now he's got a side tooth?
That's cold.
Yeah, I hate him missing side tooth, but that's what they be doing.
Now, I feel like Tia, I feel like you be talking a lot of smack. I feel like Tia be talking a lot of smack, but she be the first one that's gonna throw down in the kitchen. I feel like you
and give you your plate and run you a little bath.
Yeah,
and all of that.
This goes back to what I was saying before. Some of y'all be on these platitudes and these rhetorics, and y'all
Keith don't want me. Keith wants children. He don't want me. I'm too close to 50 for Keith.
No,
it's not that.
No, what I'm saying is, it's not about Keith. Think about our viewing audience, okay? What I'm saying is, right, you're giving me, I won't fix your plate energy, but I didn't even know that you did. But something in my heart said, why is she giving this energy? Keith is not speaking to you specifically. He's talking to some of your sisterins who don't even know what a plate is. You know what I'm saying?
They use paper plates.
Yeah, yes. That's what I'm saying. So you can't. So come on, now don't act like you don't know there are women.
I think that if Keith reached a little bit higher, he wouldn't be hitting so low.
Or you think he's just dating young, is what you're saying?
I think he's dating young. I don't think he's dating equitable.
He's 75.
Get you a 72-year-old golden girl.
Almost everybody's young. No.
You 75.
Everybody is young to him.
You are 45. If you 75,
and that's me. I'm 44, but I'm also raised in a generation in the 80s when Keith was popping. I was coming up, and so he was but that's not. He don't date my age. He's dating 22-year-olds like Shannon Sharp.
It's not
That's why he's falling short, like Shannon Sharp.
No. It's not about him. Let's take it off of him for a second. What I'm saying is, Tia, please, because I love you. You're my sister, okay? What I'm saying is, you're giving I won't fix a plate energy. When he was talking, this whole topic.
How am I giving that energy?
Because of your talking points. You're, instead of saying, you know what, like for example.
Troubling.
Okay, are you?
There it is again.
Like 5 episodes. However many you've been on.
I did what AJ did. I was making a joke on social media like RJ.
Can I give you
RJ?
I'm
Man,
just
you
trying to
just
show you
butchered
some
his name.
brotherly love, okay? Because I want you to be happy, boo. I think you're dope, right? I know. I didn't even know, but I knew that you out here whipping it up. You're whipping and nannying in the kitchen and in the
Cooking it.
realm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, you're giving I don't whip or nay. It's with some of these talking points because he's talking to those women. Okay, he's talking to the women. It says here, y'all don't cook. I bet you your house is clean. I bet you keep an immaculate crib too on top of that, don't you?
I do.
Except for your bathroom. I don't know. I feel like your bathroom might be a little because most of y'all bathrooms be a little crazy.
My bathroom is immaculately clean just for that reason because I have a lot of products. So
For real?
I'm a little compulsive about it, but that's okay. But it's supposed to be clean because you know why? Someone taught me.
Who's
Someone
that?
taught me, and I'm single. So guess what? I keep a clean house when I'm single. Imagine that, guys.
Talk
And I'm
about it.
independent and pay my own bills while I'm by myself too. I take my car.
Talk about it. But see, that's what I'm saying. You have all these things, and it's like, except for you're giving, I don't do any of these things. Keith Sweat
I'm
said,
giving single when I don't have
he,
to, and
no,
Keith Sweat doesn't have to either if he marries Esther.
it don't require marriage.
Go
Come
get a
on,
golden
man.
girl, Keith, and
It
sit
Cassie
don't
was
down.
require
doing a lot
Esther.
of stuff and she wasn't married to Diddy, but I digress.
That's a fact.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, and Delvin, you
Y'all
second
thought
in
I
that?
was the only one shooting strays
It's
tonight?
true.
Because guess what? I got them too. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, can I
We
throw
ain't gonna get
MDK
on your
in there?
boy Diddy.
Can I throw
Who?
MDK in there or no? You know what I'm saying?
No, leave her alone this week. Shit. Let
Oh,
her
well,
breathe.
listen, before we get to final takes, I did want to say something though, right? Because I forgot to mention, I want to wish Iman Shumpert a happy Father's Day. I want to wish Offset a happy
Offset,
Father's
yes. Which
Let
Offset
me
happy
see.
Father's Day.
Put this. Hold on. Let me see what I can do over here. Because
Day.
I ain't wishing them niggas nothing. But watch your baby mama shine, nigga. I hope that you watch every Instagram reel, Facebook reel. I hope that her drinking champagne on the beach hurts your heart.
Yeah.
I hope she take that nigga in your old house on your old bed.
Damn.
I hope that you know he there.
Did they
I
change
hope
Not
that?
that
on
you see
Fox.
him on the ring cam when he walk up bringing your kid McDonald's in the morning
Ding, 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 ding,
Just
ding.
not on
Okay.
Father's Day. Just not on Father's Day. That's all we're asking.
on
Okay.
Sunday.
So listen, I don't know where that came from. I remember
Turn
I
the
forgot to
ring
say
off.
that. So listen, y'all. Any final thoughts? This has been an amazingly fun, fast-paced, hard-hitting episode. I do want to let the audience know, without S&M, you know what I mean, we switched some things up, you know what I mean, and you guys did great, you know what I mean, and setting things up. So kudos to the team, man. We growing out here,
Yeah.
S&M. I hope you see this
Let's go,
Yeah, we
girl.
miss you,
team.
girl.
Hey, T out
With
here holding
me.
on by
Oh, okay.
herself. You know what
We
I'm
need you
saying? By herself,
all my
fighting
life.
the good. All my life.
All my life. I had
I had to fight.
Hey, but you know what? Speaking of All Your Life, listen, All Your Life is boiled down to this one moment. Any final thoughts on such an amazing episode? No pressure in terms of starting us off here and
Hell
landing this
yeah.
plane.
I had a wonderful time tonight. I don't know how many Uhuru Sisters fists I got tonight, but they were plentiful and I appreciate it. I love the troll and all of you guys. It was definitely a good show. Hopefully Black people decide to stand up for something because if you don't, you'll fall for everything. So I enjoyed it. I look forward to next week and I hope we have some good topics to bring to y'all.
Yes, absolutely. Jay, man, I wasn't trolling, by the way, just for the record. You're gaslighting again. But Jay, what are your final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah. I had a great show, enjoyed the conversation. But my takeaways are just that now is a real crucial time. Now's the time when we really start thinking about like what we're doing and how these decisions are going to echo on in just not even the days to come, but the decades to come in terms of what's allowable and what's not allowable in our society and our culture and in our homes. And speaking of which, oh yeah, I'm do no, I forgot. All right, that's it, man. Had a great time. Because I'm gonna be speaking about legacy. I was going to reference that, but by the time it comes out, this will already be out. So I probably should have mentioned it before. But just go to my page. I have something posted about it. Hopefully, y'all tune in and I'll hear what I got to say about building legacy as a father.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, shout out to fathers again. Del, what's happening, man? Final thoughts, man. It's been a fun episode.
Super
Already.
fun, fast-paced episode. Had a blast. As always, S&M would miss you. Uh, you know, a lot of relationship content in this particular episode, and I just hope that we can find more reasons to be together than coming up with reasons to be apart. especially with its relationship status, political leanings. I think we have more things in common than we do that to pull us apart. And people are a mixed bag. I think a lot of these relationship conversations, they get kind of flattened out and oversimplified. I mean, people are pretty complicated like myself. I just want my tax cuts and smoke my weed and concealed carry at my gay cousin's wedding. That's all I want to do. I'm complex. People are like that in real life. So find more things that you guys have in common. Focus on that, and I think we'll be good. Oh, and to Jay's previous Keith Sweat hate, but I'm glad he got his life together because now he's on board with the Keith Sweat team. Glad you got your life together, Jay.
Yes,
I can't
I've
believe
been
he was hating
redeemed.
on Keith Sweat. Like anybody out there, like he really took the whining thing and R&B thing to a whole different level. Like he had his own lane. You got to respect that. At least I do, right? I do want to say this though before we get up out of here. Listen, man, I don't know about y'all, but like when you're blessed, you feel like you want other people to be blessed. There's a certain level of responsibility you have. You feel like you want, that's just the type of time I'm on, right? So when I have these conversations, I hope y'all really feel me. No trolling, no gaslighting to you, right? Is I genuinely want to see y'all happy. You know what I'm saying? I want to see people come together. I do think that's one of the greatest things when you find somebody. So I'm here for all of that. But I will say this. When you're also blessed, you have a responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like some of y'all be walking out here shitting on other people, think y'all better than other people. That's not the case. Because you can't be blessed, which I think is inherent to acknowledging something greater than yourself that bestowed upon you a blessing, and then act like it was all on you and then have your nose up around other people. I was thinking about the last episode. That's the reason why I don't hit on short niggas. Right? I was blessed with height. I had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? I woke up like this, right? So whether it's relationships, right, what Ciara did, right? People be out here not recognize it's once you recognize that you are blessed, it is better to be a blessing, is all I'm basically trying to say. But with that being said, on behalf of all of us, myself, TMB, Just Jay, Delvin the Expert, and so then we miss you. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoy bringing it to y'all. Don't
Just for
forget
you.
to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, we got the merch, y'all. That's right, man. Stop playing. Walk around naked out here in these streets. We'll see y'all next week. S&M will be back. Hopefully, we'll have Del in one of these episodes on a cruise doing his Thug Thizzle as our cruise correspondent. We're doing big things. You know what I'm saying?
Things.
Better listen closely or better watch closely. We'll see y'all next time. Be easy. Peace.
Peace.
Pew, 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 pew.
Rooting for everybody black.